in the lowest point of my life. I've already tried to take my life twice. Living in my car for 2.5 years at that time. Stressed out, depression, anxiety, mom dying in the hospital. Girlfriend had just broken up with me because I couldn't get my life together. And I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. Just show me a sign. I'm at a gas station. I only had $2 to my name. A homeless guy walks up to me and asks me for money. I say, you have more money than me, because he literally had a wad of cash. And he said, change your mindset, change your life. And I don't know what it was about those words, but it created like a conscious interrupt. And it made me think, is my life a lie because of how I've been thinking? I listened, I absorbed, I took committed action. So I went and I was like, yo, gold is not at the end of the rainbow. It's at the beginning of the rainbow. It's like so many treasures in your life where you can grab so many lessons and recreate a whole new future.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. I am really, really interested to get into this man's heart, even more than his brain today. He's got a huge heart. He leads with his heart. Yep. And he's had an amazing life story. Let me set the stage for all. I want you to picture a few things really quick. Imagine this man at 4 years old, someone tried to kill him. Sure, would have been a driver. That's at 4 years old. By the time he gets to 10 years old, a few men tried to drown him. By the time he gets to 12 years old, his father's been murdered. And about that point in this young man's life, he kind of just gave up trying. And I think a lot of you, fortunately, at that point in your lives right now where you're considering giving up. And then from there, he ended up kind of going down a wrong path in his life. It's a crazy story. Then he ends up getting incarcerated for transacting drugs, which really weren't real drugs. We'll hear about that in a minute. So he got served, sentenced to 12 years in prison after that. Are you all hearing this? We're about to talk to this man. Then he gets out. Then he signs a record deal with Ludacris. He's like, all right, my life's turned around. Now I'm going to get rich. Except a few years after that, he's living in his storage unit and living in his car again. Hits rock bottom, and then he meets this stranger that kind of changed his life forever. And from there, from that, what I just described, from that 4-year-old to that 10-year-old to that 12-year-old, this man has now reached millions of people with his message. He's made millions of dollars also, and completely changed his life. And I'm like, you know what? I think people need to know what he knows. And so that's why he's sitting here today. So Garen Jones, welcome to the show, my friend.
Ed, I was sitting here as if I wasn't me listening to that. Thank you for being brave enough to create a platform like this, so stories like mine have wings. So thank you. I'm so glad to be on.
Yeah, it's my honor. Really been looking forward to this. What happened with that homeless guy first? Let's do the spoiler alert first. What happens with the homeless dude that changes your life? What does he? I know what he says to you, but I want you to tell everybody else.
I mean,
and it seems subtle.
To just jump in right there. Just let me take you a week back.
Okay.
So I'm in the lowest point of my life. I've already tried to take my life twice. This is August 2011. And it was my rock bottom's rock bottom. And everybody has a different version of their rock bottom. And I'm like in the car, literally right down the street on La Brea and Hollywood, in front of the Mill and More, living in my car for 2.5 years at that time. Stressed out, depression, anxiety, mom dying in the hospital. Just girlfriend had just broken up with me because I couldn't get my life together. And I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I just want to inspire people. And I want to make a bunch of money. And I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in, that I would do for free. Just show me a sign. Then let's skip to that homeless guy, because this was a week later. Now I'm at a gas station. Everybody knows you can't get a gallon of gas for anything less than like $4. I only had $2 to my name, trying to get whatever I could because my car had run out of gas. And a homeless guy walks up to me and asks me for money. I say, you have more money than me, because he literally had a wad of cash. And he said, change your mindset, change your life. And I don't know what it was about those words, but it created like a conscious interrupt. And it made me think, is my life a lie because of how I've been thinking. And I didn't say those words, but there was an energy that took over me. Almost like in that movie, The Sixth Sense, where he literally saw his whole life because he didn't know he was dead.
Yeah.
I saw all the lies that could be lies because of the way I was thinking. Yeah. And I said, change your mindset, change your life. So if I do different with the same circumstance or in areas in my life where I'm not happy, my life will change.
Good morning, guys. I'll pause it right there. How's everyone doing today? Don't be quiet on me today, guys.
Everything's good.
Good, good, good. What a
All right,
powerful
good
message.
morning,
Yeah?
Louis. Good morning.
Good morning, Louis.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Yeah, change your mindset, change your life, right? How easy that is to say, but how hard it is for us to do sometimes, right? That was a real powerful message. I think I've heard this gentleman's story before. It sounds very familiar, but it was recommended to me on YouTube this morning, so I figured I'd give it a shot and play it for us because you guys know that Ed Milet is a very inspirational person. I know a lot of us used to, at the office used to watch Ed Milet while dialing for dollars. And the gentleman he had on today is someone who has a very inspirational story. So if you guys want to see the rest of it, I'll link that video in the chat. But yeah, just want to welcome everyone and see if you guys want to start off the day today with any good news, anything you guys want to share, or do you guys have any questions, anything you're excited about, any issues you're having? I'd love to hear it.
Well, I had a pretty quiet weekend.
Was it really for you? You're always up to something new and innovative.
Yeah, pretty quiet weekend. I've got 4 clients that just popped off at the same time, and I found 2 of them homes and the other 2 still looking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you got to take a
was
break once in a
easy.
while and let the other agents catch up. It's not fair.
Here you go. I did find you know, agent attraction in my particular corner, because it's not the whole of Georgia, is difficult for me because I am in a very old area. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
60% of the agents are pushing 70
Okay.
and they're still going.
And they ain't trying to make a change at this point.
And they're not trying to make a change, and they're not trying to let anybody in their office make a change. And everybody's dedicated to this one because that's grandma or Aunt Jenny, so and so and so and so and so.
Yeah.
So I'm just, letting them see, because after a while you got to stop talking and you just going to have to let them see.
I get it. You know what I would recommend to you is instead of investing time and energy into people on their way out, you should invest time and energy in people on their way in. So right now, being that we're in graduation season and a lot of kids are choosing maybe not to go to college or prolong college, or maybe even get a side hustle while in college, right? What if you did a Facebook webinar like you've been doing? You've been doing great. You've been crushing it with these Facebook webinars. Why don't you do a Facebook webinar for alternative careers for college kids or kids who choose not to go to college? And then you just educate a bunch of kids who don't know what to do next, but maybe they have a great personality, charisma. And out of every 10 kids you talk to, I'm sure 1 or 2 superstars are going to be in there somewhere. But imagine investing time and energy, and you don't have to do much, obviously, because EXP does the training for you. But imagine mentoring a bunch of 18-year-olds and where that would get you in 5 years, 10 years, because a lot of us, we don't play the long game. We play that short game. We're like, okay, how much can you bring in this year or next year? Instead of investing into the youth, where when we're exiting the business, they're at their prime, right? Because you don't want somebody exiting before you're exiting, because then that means that when you're retired, the money has already stopped. So that might be a good idea if you're looking for agent attraction, because I guarantee you there's a lot of kids in your part of Georgia who have no idea what they're going to be doing next. Are they going to be working at the local mom and pop? Are they going to be working at the Home Depot? Like what is their options? That might be a good one for you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
No
I was thinking that the only way that I can contact those that are just coming in, which is somehow find out, how do brokers even find out who just got their real estate license?
So I don't know who does your testing in Georgia, but in New Jersey, it's what's the name of that? It's you guys remember the name of the testing center? I know here in Florida it's Pearson View.
Yeah,
PSI?
that's here too, Parsons View.
Yeah, Pearson's View, but in Jersey, it's
You talking about Adobe or
PSI?
PSI. I just had it in my head. Yeah, it's PSI. So PSI will sell you the data, whether they
Really?
pass. Yeah, it's not easy to get though. Believe me, I spent many a months trying to track down the right person to give me the data, but they will sell you the data for everyone who's passed and failed, and it is worth getting a subscription for it if you're looking to build a team or build a network or a brokerage. But the thing is that a lot of those agents that are passing, they've already have in mind where they want to go. Okay.
Yeah.
So trying to convince them and sway them to go somewhere else is a little bit difficult. You'll have a much better time. Listen to this. You'll have a much better opportunity at targeting the agents who actually failed and help them with their studying. Maybe you have like a crash course on the weekends to help agents pass, or you have material that you created to help agents pass. And then when they're actually pass, they'll remember you and they'll contact you and say, hey, listen, thank you so much. I passed. I finally passed. You were the only one that actually made the time for me. That's a really good avenue that brokerages have never taken. I've never seen a brokerage take that. I was the only one who was actually sending them study material, study courses, following up with them every month, seeing how they're doing. And we got a few people that came in through to our organization that way, but it's a long game as well. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get this data and, everyone's going to convert because I have their number. They're getting bombarded with calls. You ain't the only one calling them,
Right.
So you always got to think about how different can you approach the situation instead of the way everyone else approaches it. Yeah. So Pearson View probably does the same thing in Georgia. I wouldn't be surprised because I hear people here getting calls all the time. Like everyone who's joined me in Florida has always said, yeah, I passed. And then everybody calling me, congratulating me.
Yeah, I was wondering, I was just trying to figure out, I'm like, I remember getting a bunch of postcards in the mail and I'm like, why you have my email address? How do you
Yeah.
know already? Leave me alone.
Yeah. I remember when I got my broker's license in Florida, everybody was calling me Florida too. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it's the same in Florida as it is in Jersey. Not too different. Yeah, there's data
Right.
out there, guys. There's a lot of data out there for whatever you want to do. Anything and everything you want to do. There's data out there that'll give you everyone's production levels on the MLS. If you wanted to know how much, who's doing all the
Yeah.
production, you can get that. You can get anything. So if you want to get into agent attraction, which I think that a lot of you have really kind of like put on the back burner, and it's not as hard as you would think. If you dedicated just 1 hour a week of your time to making some calls and planting some seeds, and not even trying to convince anyone, because nobody wants to be convinced. Like you go buy a car, you don't want to be convinced that this is what you should buy. You want to be educated. So if you take 1 hour a week to educate people, I think that'll go a long way in the future, because you're just planting seeds, and eventually some seeds are gonna blossom. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for that, Belinda. Anyone else? You guys have anything going on?
I just want to thank Alejandro. He made an introductory this week between me and this guy in Dubai. And I got to meet him in person over like a Zoom thing for 45 minutes. And he had explained to me the whole process of how we can buy property in Dubai and how we can help people bring them there. So the minimum is 500,000 for you to buy a property in Dubai to earn 10 years of the golden visa. It's like the permanent green card for you, your wife, your kids, even the married kids that you have. They can also move there, get all the benefit. And then he said I will earn 25% referral fee.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So thank you, Alejandro.
Yeah, what's funny is I
Time.
reposted that
Thank
story.
you so much.
Yeah, and
thank
I
you.
had people reach out to me like, I'm moving to Dubai. Oh my God, it's like such a great opportunity. I'm gonna move there part-time. And then someone else was saying, yeah, I heard they need a lot of people in marketing. I'm gonna go there and grow my marketing business. It's like Dubai right now, I'm almost scared of how much attention it's getting, or how much economic boom is going on over there, because I get very weary when I see things go in a straight line like that. And it's been like, I've been hearing nothing but Dubai and Dubai and Dubai and Dubai, like over and over and over again. So I think there's a great opportunity there because there's such a buzz around it. Are we in a peak market in Dubai, or is it going to continue going and we just see in the beginning of it? No one really knows. But I'm telling you right now, guys, there is a great opportunity to make money in Dubai. No matter what industry you're in, it's definitely doing the right thing for businesses and doing the right thing for their country. What did you learn, Sarah? What did
I
you learn?
learned that their
Did you turn
government
your camera on,
is,
sweetie? Would you mind
uh,
turning your camera on?
I,
No? Okay, don't, if you didn't do your makeup, it's fine. There we go. Much better. We like talking to people, not the blank screens. Your audio is off now, though. You turned your audio off.
Louis,
There
can
you
you give me 5 minutes? Let me brush my hair.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you looked fine. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else did.
No, I'm still getting ready. I look
Oh,
like
okay,
crap.
okay. Then go ahead and enlighten us, and tell us about what you learned about Dubai besides the visa process. What did you
Yeah.
learn about life in Dubai? Did you learn anything about life in Dubai and how it is for someone, for expatriates or someone who goes there initially? Like, is there like a learning curve? Is there like I miss home curve? Is there like, oh my God, I should have moved here 20 years ago curve? Like, what do you see? What do
Yeah,
you
I did that. I did ask him that. And I said for someone to move from Jersey to the Middle East, it's a little bit a challenge because New Jersey is a very diverse
Mhm.
state.
Yeah.
And just to go to the Middle East, and he said, listen, he's like, we're more diverse in New Jersey. He said, we have a place to pray for every religion,
Yeah.
even the Hindus. We made sure we have a place for them to pray. He said there was schools, private schools for everyone, Jewish school, Christian schools, Muslim schools, schools for everyone. The food is very affordable. You can eat for $20. You can eat for $200. It's whatever you pick.
Yeah.
Everything is there. He said the government is being very smart about people wanting to buy properties or invest there. They make everything so easy. Some
Mhm.
people, they buy condos online, and he said he closed them in 5 minutes.
Mm.
And there's also loans available for foreigners. So you just have to put down, it's like here, I think 20%, no,
Yeah.
25%. You
Yeah.
put down 25%, and then they look you up and they can give you a nice loan from
Yeah.
the bank, even if you don't have a citizen or a permanent resident.
That's incredible.
Yeah. He said we're making it easy for people, and people are moving there all the times.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is really cool. Now you have a brother that lives there too, right? And a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that either.
Yes. So my brother lived there for 7 years on a
Mhm.
government contract.
Okay.
And then he came here and he teaches cybersecurity at the Felician University.
Yeah.
But now, because he doesn't want to let go of his clearance, he's back in Dubai on a job interview.
Mm. And he told you good things about Dubai, and him having zero interest in you moving there or not. He can tell you a non-biased opinion of what life is like there. And what did he say about life in Dubai?
He doesn't want to ever come back.
Oh, he's still there.
He loves it.
Oh.
Yeah. He said it's a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of money. You're getting paid triple of what you get paid here.
Wow. Yeah, I heard the same thing for just about every job
And
type.
there's a lot of free things there too. Like
Yeah.
to have fun.
Yeah.
They give you everything, like to go to concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free things there for families.
For sure. Okay, awesome. Now, did you pick up something for you personally as far as like a game plan or investment ideas? Did you come up with anything from that conversation?
Investment idea, I don't have the money to invest in Dubai at the moment.
Yeah.
Game plan, moving there, the jobs there. I mean, I'm always open for these.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, well, I have a very good friend who just disclosed to me that they're considering moving there a good portion out of the year. I'm assuming to take the opportunity of having a lower tax structure. So a lot of smart money is going there, guys. So let's keep that in mind. And there might be some opportunity there in the future, even maybe not even to go and do business there or to move there, but having a contact like that that's referring you a 25% referral. And we do have EXP in Dubai, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that, but we do have EXP in Dubai. We're licensed there in that country. So if you ever end up meeting people online from Dubai who have an interest in making a move somewhere, EXP is there. I don't know how big they are there yet, but they're there. They have a presence there. So I wouldn't be surprised if
18 agents.
18 agents. Yeah, it's
18 agents.
It's a huge opportunity right now. Because what I did the research on real estate in Dubai, there's a lot of private companies. There's a lot of like independent firms. You know, you hear a lot of like people's last names firms and stuff like that. So a very independent country. So for EXP, I believe that might be a huge opportunity because I doubt any of those companies are giving their agents ownership opportunity, you know, or revenue splits, you know, so keep that in mind. Alejandro, you, you know, I don't want to make this whole training today about Dubai, but what are your thoughts on Dubai? And we'll leave it at that.
Well, it is a great country. I mean, it's different. It's hard to find liquor. Like it's hard to find liquor. Like the laws are very strict,
Mhm.
which is kind of good though. I mean, it's different, but it's a lot of opportunity there. And if you see somebody who wants to buy a property there, the cheapest you can get is $1 million. So 25% is something, you know.
Yeah. But you were saying that outside of Dubai, I believe there's opportunities where you can buy like a home for like $150,000, right? Is
Cheaper,
that true?
yes. The thing is that infrastructure that I saw, like the train being built. They're trying to make it like some sort of. They're trying to like replicate New York 10 times better. That's what it is. So now they're going. It's overcrowded already. There's no more space to build. All the big buildings or whatever is already built. So they're going around. The thing I don't really understand is why. Let's see, for example, it's like it looked like they give all this land to the Emirates, and they giving money to build. But and then the government is telling them to get out of there to a bigger land. So I don't really understand why all these houses are like in distress, like just abandoned, almost done. That I didn't understood, but I saw some opportunity because you can buy it for like 150 or 200,000. But it's gonna take time because right now I don't think you can get top rent because I mean right now it's like how you gonna commute? You have to like drive.
Yeah.
But once the train is done, then I think the property is gonna go up, just like Jersey went out, just like Connecticut went out, the surroundings from Manhattan. So I think that's what happened there, and I think that's the trend. If you invest outside right now, I think it's a good time, but it's risky. You just never know. It can go up or it can go down.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you said, taking a risk on a place like that and having the infrastructure come in later, I mean, it's just like the invention of a suburb. That's really what they're doing. They're creating a suburb out of the main hub that is Dubai, which I'm sure a lot of people who want to live in Dubai or close to Dubai, work in Dubai, but don't want to pay Dubai prices, that would be a no-brainer. If it's like a 30-minute commute on a train, you know, that's really good. Awesome. All right, guys. So anything else you guys want to share? Anything you guys got for me? Any great news or things you want to cover today?
I just wanted to ask real quick, what's the currency in Dubai?
I believe it's the dinar, no?
Dirham.
Dirham. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. But listen, the dollar goes everywhere.
Yeah, the dollar reigns supreme because half the videos I watch, they talk about
Flash the
everything in
green.
dollars. Yeah, awesome. Cool. All right. Good. Well, guys, couple things going on this week that I want to bring to your attention. One of them is that tomorrow is a very important day. We're going to get our CPI reading. You guys are familiar with that because I'm sure you probably heard me talk about this before. It's the inflation reading on the economy. It's the pulse of the economy. What's going on with prices and pricing across the board with food, with shelter prices, with gas prices, with everything. So tomorrow will be a very pivotal day on where we're going to see the market go for the next 30 days or so. A lot of people are suggesting that depending on what happens tomorrow, the Fed will decide if they are going to raise interest rates, keep them the same. I think it's a little too premature to say that they'll drop rates, but I believe the Fed is scheduled to meet on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I think tomorrow we have the CPI read and Wednesday we have the Fed meeting. So depending on what happens tomorrow, well, not depending on what happens tomorrow, because I'm sure the Fed already knows the numbers, but they're going to take action according to what happens tomorrow. So tomorrow's CPI numbers, if you guys care, I think they come out around, if I'm not mistaken, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So keep an eye on that because that will give us a major fluctuations and that will lead to some rate policy hikes or drops. And if the rates continue to go up, remember, that means that treasury bonds continue to go up People will be more enticed into investing into bonds, into treasuries for which is IOUs to the government, rather than investing into the market or investing into something like real estate on a commercial level. Because if commercial investment such as like a building or a strip mall is earning you 7%, let's say, and that's a good one, right? Earning you 7% on your money, but it requires management, it requires oversight, it requires a lot of headaches and putting out fires. Or you can get 5% risk-free from the Fed. A lot of people are like, you know what, I'd rather just park my money into the Fed, wait for real estate to crash, and then I'll go and buy real estate, right? That's what a lot of people think, or buy assets, buy securities, anything. So tomorrow is going to be a really important day. Keep an eye on that. You're going to see some major ebbs and flows this week with whatever happens between tomorrow and Wednesday, and that's going to outline the rest of our month for the most part. Anyone have any predictions on pricing? Yes. What's up?
Did the gold prices go up? I remember you advised that we buy gold.
I never advise you guys buy anything. I'd say you guys should be diversified in looking at pricing, like especially when it comes to having a certain amount of your buying power in gold or in silver, because obviously those types of things are what are called hedges against inflation. Let's take a look at it right now. We can take a quick look and see what gold has done, because I encourage everyone to always do their own research when it comes to doing any type of investing, because it's not like, oh, there's not one person, unless you're like Nancy Pelosi, who knows the future and can tell you what's going to happen with any asset. Let me see. Okay, so gold, from the time that we spoke about gold is actually down, because if you guys have noticed, the market's actually up. The market's been up. So when the gold and silver hype was going on was when people were talking a lot about the dollar losing its pivotal role and as being the world reserve currency, because there was a lot of countries from the BRICS nations that were discussing conducting business in something other than the dollar, and that would be devastating for the dollar. So because of that, a lot of people were buying gold and buying silver to try to kind of like protect themselves from high inflation, and also being all in on dollars, right? But since then, that noise has kind of calmed down a little bit. So you can see that the gold prices have come down a little bit. But I'm telling you right now, when gold prices kind of like make a move, they make it kind of all at once. Because I remember 10 years ago, gold was trading around like $1,800, and that was like, oh my God, it's $1,800. Now it's like, okay, gold trades at $2,000, and that's normally where it trades at in that realm. Next time, gold may take a jump. It might jump to $2,200 or $2,400, and then it might just play in that zone for a long time. But keep in mind that with gold, you're not looking for massive returns. You're just looking for a way to kind of keep yourself not all in on dollars. And, there's nothing really else in this world besides like, Bitcoin, and some people don't even really fathom what to do with Bitcoin because it's so volatile. They'd rather just, have some money in treasuries, because that's as good as cash for most people. And then you got gold that is also going to help you somewhat. But let me draw your attention, guys, to what the market's been doing. And when I say the market, I want to look at the S&P 500. That's a basket of the 500 biggest companies. And that has been in the last, this is a little off topic, but since we're on the topic, let me just show you what we've been looking at. So you guys remember right here, which was like 2022 or 2021 going into 2022. This was the peak of the market. This was the S&P 500 being at 48. And then we dropped all the way down to about 34.86. This was the bottom. Right now, we're currently hovering at about 43.21, which if you look at it, we're halfway there, maybe a little bit more than halfway there to where we were at all-time highs. So the market's recovering, and some people argue the market's only recovering because of inflation. Assets cost more money now because the dollar is worth a lot less. Some people had just been buying, the dips here, and it's causing a run up. But I did hear from a lot of reputable sources that asset managers, funds, and a lot of smart money, they're not really buying stock right now. They're not really buying too many securities. I feel like they might be waiting for a double dip. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that term, but or a dead cat bounce. A dead cat bounce is when you have this drop initially, and let me make this a little bit bigger. You have this drop initially. Let me just try to, okay. You have this drop, and then you have this rise, but then it drops even further, okay? So normally a dead cat bounce would take place somewhere in the in the Fibonacci golden pocket, which is exactly where we are right now. This Fibonacci golden pocket is between 0.618 and 0.65. That's where you usually see what's going to happen. So in this range right here, it's kind of make or break. So that would be very perfect timing if tomorrow the Fed, if tomorrow CPI says something or the Fed does something on Wednesday, they can kind of like U-turn this whole thing. Because if it U-turns the whole thing, then we might see like that double dip, or it could happen next month, or it can happen at the end of the year. And a lot of people are predicting that, you know, the worst is going to take place in 2024. Who knows, right? There's nobody can predict any of these things, but we have been making a recovery, and who knows, maybe in 2024 it'll be even higher than it is now. No one can tell. What I will tell you is that over time, this thing does go up. We do have our buying opportunity. So if anybody has been buying these dips, like I kind of took the initiative and I bought the Tesla dip, and Tesla's been announcing recently that they've teamed up with Ford and teamed up with GM to allow them to use the charging stations. So since then, you know, Tesla was trading at like $100. Now Tesla's trading at $250. And this is a critical spot for a Tesla. And if it breaks through this, we can see, you know, close to all-time highs within the next few months, because these stocks, they trade on sentiment, because there was no reason for Tesla to have dropped down to 100. The fundamentals were strong. And now it's jumping like crazy, and there's no reason why it wouldn't stop. You know, if people buy, they buy, you know. So who knows? Keep an eye on these things, guys. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be an important day. It'll probably move a lot of this stuff around.
Louis, just in case, just to ask, are you buying like on a long term? Are you just waiting to get like the highest
Yeah.
part of the candle to check out, or are you just gonna let it see where it goes?
Yeah, great question. So I usually, I've done everything. I've tried to be a trader, which is a very difficult thing to do, and I'm not very good at it. And I've also done long-term investments, which have always been the ones that have turned out best for me. So what I do now is I wait for like massive dips, or I wait for massive corrections in pricing, and then I go in. So for the Tesla stuff, I was buying daily. I set a recurring purchase when it was going down. So it was like, I'm sorry, this is not Tesla. When Tesla was going down, I think it was like at like 180. I started buying, and then it just kept going and kept going. But good thing I was buying daily. It was automatically recurring daily. So I was able to buy Tesla from like 180 all the way down to $100. And then on the way up, I kept buying as well, and then bought this dip as well. And then somewhere around here, around like 195, I stopped buying. Then now, you know, it's going up. So if we have another dip again, and then we go down again, I'll turn the purchasing on again. So that's the way I like to invest. And because I'm not planning on selling Tesla, I think Tesla is the future. You guys could have done the same thing with other companies that you think is the future, like Amazon or Microsoft, or whatever you think you're into, or whatever you think the companies will do well in the future. Like if anybody bought Nvidia, like they would have done really well. But Nvidia is kind of really expensive right now for anyone to really.
How about contracts?
Comcast or contracts?
Contracts.
Contracts. You mean like puts and calls?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't get involved in puts and calls because they can expire worthless, which means that it's kind of like gambling. So if you guys know how to time those things, and you know what you're investing in, it could be very profitable. But again, like even
You gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah, even the most seasoned investors like Warren Buffett, you know, you don't see them buying puts and calls. You see them buying securities and accumulating them over time. So, you know, when you're young, you take a lot of these irresponsible type of positions where you know not what you're doing. And as you get older, you kind of start to wise up and you're like, you know what, this stuff really doesn't really make you that much money. You end up losing more money. So unless you're like on Wall Street and you have like a lot of insight on the market and where things are going, you know, those guys can take puts and calls all day and write it off as a loss, because they'll make it up the next day. But for some of us, like, you know, you get demoralized after you invest a couple $1,000s and that contract expires worthless and you never go back. So instead of doing that, I would recommend you guys just buy in over time and then see where your portfolio is in 5 or 10 years playing that long game. Right. All right. So let's good stuff though, guys. Good questions. All right. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of things that I wanted to mention to you guys today. So I was listening to Alex Hormozy this morning. Some of you know who he is. Some of you probably are not too familiar with him, but very, very smart businessman. He helps, he buys businesses. He was an entrepreneur himself, started from scratch, used to just sleep on his gym floor. And now he mentors a lot of people and he's very, very, very successful and probably on his way to be a billionaire. So one thing he talked about today, and I haven't finished watching his video yet, and I'll post both videos, the one we were listening to earlier and his video in the chat before we cut out of here. But one of the things that he was talking about today, which is the latest video of his, is he was at a conference talking about brand. And he was saying that brand is important, but sometimes people put too much emphasis on brand and not enough emphasis on strategy. Right. So let me ask you guys a question, and I want you guys to please just jump in and give me your best response. What kind of a feeling or emotion do you get when I say to you a certain brand? So for instance, Apple, what kind of a emotion or feeling does that invoke in you? Anyone? What kind of a feeling does Apple give you?
Smart.
Smart, right?
Yeah.
Rich.
Rich, right? Very rich company, probably one of the most valuable companies in the world. You have to be rich.
Innovative.
Innovative, right? Now, what do you think of a person when you're at a coffee shop and they come up and they open up a brand new MacBook? You associate those types of things with that person, correct?
Oh,
he must
yeah.
be rich, or he
Like,
must be,
holy shit, he's a smart one.
or he's smart, or he's savvy, or whatever, right? Because now whatever the brand gives you a feeling of, you associate that to the person that is using the product. Now, what emotion or what feeling do you get when I say McDonald's?
Fat.
Fat, right?
Unhealthy.
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 Okay.
Disgusting.
Okay.
Reckless.
So if you're sitting in a park and a park bench and someone sits next to you and they pull out a McDonald's bag and start eating quarter pounder with cheese and French fries, all of those emotions you associate to that person, right? So what he was saying is that us as business people, we have to start thinking about, how do people perceive us? What feeling do we give people? Because I'm sure you've all heard this before, that people don't remember what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel, right? So what I got out of this presentation that he gave, and he spent a lot of time on it, believe it or not, because the point was made like this. People don't spend enough time thinking about how they make people feel. People spend too much time thinking they know what a business should be like, or what image should look like, instead of thinking about, how does this make my audience feel? How does this make my consumer feel? Because there is a big difference in that. And if you can think to yourself, how can I make someone feel like positive brand? So like you guys say, maybe Apple is a positive brand, or maybe you say Tesla's a positive brand, or maybe you guys have like certain churches in your community. They're like, oh, when you think of that church, everyone thinks this about that church, as opposed to maybe that, or organizations, whatever you feel in your mind, personally in your life, has a strong brand that you associate nothing but positivity to. You may want to ask yourself, how can I mimic those feelings as well, with the content I put out, with the service I deliver, with the communication I have with the people I do business with, my employees, my clients, all those people, right? How can you invoke the same feelings? So for instance, have you ever been in an office setting, and there's certain people that they come into the office and you're like, oh, like so cool, like let's talk, everybody, like light up a room. But then there's certain people that walk into the room and you're like, everybody scatters like roaches, right? Because you don't want to be around that negativity, or you don't want to be around that kind of vibe, right? So that is a brand, believe it or not. Like that's you're branded with that. Certain people in high school and college, you've been branded as the jock, you've been branded as the pretty girl, you've been branded as the nerd. Like that's your brand. But how does that make people feel, and how can you change that image or enforce that image if it's a positive one? And what are you doing right and what are you doing wrong, right? Well, some things we're nailing, some things maybe we're not nailing so well. So it all comes down to self-awareness and knowing, hey, I am really good at this, but I'm not so good at that. Or maybe my message comes across wrong. The best thing to do, I would be very honest with you, is take Alejandro's example from last week, who Sarah actually took the initiative of actually reaching out to me and asking me, ask people, what am I really good at? What I'm not really good at? What kind of brand do you think I invoke? Like, what do you think my brand says about me? You know, do you think people enjoy working with me, or do you think people after working with me, they're like, we'll never work with her again, or we'll never work with him again? You know, that's your brand. So if you can, and I'm sure everyone can do right now, is if you think about who do you see on your social media feeds that's in real estate, and what do they make you feel like when you watch their videos, right? Or watch their content? Is it that they're too salesy, or is it that they're too cocky, or is it that they're very informative and I love their content? And because then sooner or later you start to understand, like, oh, wait, so maybe I make people feel like this, or maybe if I did more of that, I could also make people feel like that. So for instance, if you come up with a couple of people that you think of that you want to emulate, or some characteristics you want to emulate from those people, and try to double down on that, I guarantee that your engagement goes up. I guarantee that your image starts to change, because there are companies that are called PR companies, public relation companies. And I think, didn't you work in this, Belinda, or was it HR, or was it PR? So I think you might have worked in something.
With Panasonic, yes, I was in corporate marketing,
You are, right?
which is
So
part of public relations.
yeah,
Mhm.
public relations is a multi-billion-dollar business, and really what all it is them being self-aware of you, of whatever your company or your image or your brand embodies, and they try to help you with that image. You know, there is a lot of people who pay PR companies to help them, celebrities, companies, business people, and you can all do this yourselves with the help of maybe a few people who are honest with you in your corner, and just figure out what is it that my brand is really telling my audience, right? Work on that, but don't obsess on it, because really all you need to do is be self-aware of what that brand should look like. Work on that. Try to negate or eliminate whatever it is that is not really working for you, right? Because there's times when we sometimes like put some content out and we're so proud of it and we're so happy with it. And then someone might tell you, hey, listen, you might want to tone that down a little bit, because it sounds like you're very braggy. You know, you're almost coming across like cocky. And there's some people who get, there's some people who are inspired by that, right? And there's some people who you really are like, you're diluting your brand. So maybe there's a balance in there, or maybe there's a message you're leaving out. So for instance, there's nothing wrong with being proud about what you've accomplished or what you've done, but then you should also humanize yourself and humble yourself and say, yes, but I remember when I didn't have enough to even buy XYZ, or the only reason why I accomplished this was because I had so much help from my mentor, and I want to give, you know, a lot of credit to this or that person, or thank you, you know, because God gave me the ability. Like, you want to always have like that type of balance, because if everything you put out is always negative or everything's always positive, then that's a brand you start to take over. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm not going to spend too much on that, but Belinda, what did you learn from your time as in PR world or corporate brands? What did you learn, and what do you apply to your business when it comes to that?
Because I was in the headquarters office, I spent a lot of time with the Japanese executives.
Mhm.
And that's a big deal. How I was taught how to present the brand. It wasn't even just about the products. It was about how I carried myself when I went into meetings,
Yeah.
and when I traveled with them to other places to sponsor events.
Correct.
And yeah, that was the biggest thing, is they pointed the finger at me. If I
Mhm.
answered the phone, I owned the call. I was not allowed, if it wasn't even for my department, I had to find an answer for that person.
Yeah. It's very true. I mean, think about it, guys. When you're gonna make a hire, or when you're gonna take a tenant into your house or anything, what do? We jump on their social media and we see, what kind of a person are they? Right.
Mhm.
I know I do. When I find a tenant for one of my homes, or if I'm helping someone else find a tenant for their homes, I jump on their social media, because you can say whatever you want on your application, but I want to see what your brand says about you if you're on there. Because I've gotten people who have submitted, and they've had like this perfect, you know, picture of who they are as a person, and then I jump over to their social media pages, and it's them smoking weed, drinking nonstop, you know, like doing all these things that are like, this is not the kind of person I want in my apartment. That's your brand. But then if I jump over and I see like a family and like a lot of positivity coming out of their corner, then I want that person as a tenant because that is their brand. People make these judgments about us all the time. So it's not like I'm saying that it's not real. I'm not saying, guys, we live in a fairy tale land where everyone's going to give each other infinite opportunities to clean up their brand. It's our job to do that. Now, once we figured out our brand and we know how important a brand can actually be for our business, we need to figure out what's called strategy, right? Because we can have the best brand in the world, right? Everyone can admire whatever brand, whether it be Apple or Tesla, whatever. But then if the strategy is off, the brand doesn't matter. Because if your strategy is completely off the mark, then that means that people will like you, but they'll never do business with you because you don't have a strategy on how to do business with them, right? So he gave a lot of great examples of people who he's helped with businesses and how they pivoted and how he's made like simple changes and they've like, I want to say 10x, but maybe even more than 10x a lot of their businesses. So let me give you a quick example. He said he met with a company or met with a group that had a influencer business. They had over 40 million followers on YouTube. He didn't mention who it was. And he spoke with them and asked them, what is your priority? Like, what are your objectives? What are your goals? And they said, our goal is to make more money with our content. So he said, okay, so if that is your objective, how can you go about doing that? And what they said was, you know, we need to get better processes in place. We need to create better content. We need to be able to have the key people in our business to be able to really scale up and be able to do more. He said, I see. So where's the main way you're getting paid right now? And they said from AdSense. So AdSense is the money that YouTube pays you when people watch your videos and they get ads served to them. And that is the way that they are currently right now generating income. So that's their strategy. Now, what he said was that, well, you're right now probably in the 97th percentile of all YouTubers or content creators in the world. So what you're telling me is you want to go from 97% to maybe the 99th percentile and make more money that way. And they said, yeah, that's what we're trying to aim for. And he said, or what are you currently selling your audience? They're like, nothing, you know, we get sponsorships and sometimes we get affiliate stuff. He's like, so right now you're telling me you're at 0 when it comes to products. You're at 0. So even if you stayed at 97 percentile in the YouTube world or the influencer world, and you took your product presence from 0 to 20%, you would have increased your income so much more than you would have by trying to keep focusing on becoming that like infinitely smaller percentile, more better or than you were before. Instead, you sometimes got to change your strategy is what he's saying. So what he's saying is a lot of these businesses have a hard time thinking outside the box, such as the person who had a photography business who was doing photography for professional photography for a lot of these businesses. And he said to the photographer who wanted to kind of like do a model of like, hey, we're going to teach you guys how to do your own photography. And then we're going to sell that as a product instead of like continuing to do the photography himself. He said, well, let me ask you this. How much money do your clients end up making more every year because of your photography skills and what you teach them? He said, on average, they end up making about $400,000 more in sales and their brand image goes up and all this stuff is great. So he said, okay, so what you're saying is instead of charging $5,000 per session or per consulting with your photography skills and all this other stuff, instead of doing that, you're wanting to create a course for them to do it themselves. He's like, yeah, because I could scale myself better. He's like, or you can just start opening up these companies that you're increasing $400,000 to every single year on their bottom line. Why don't you do that? So now he says that him and that photography person, they teamed up and they've opened up 55 locations where people get photography taken, professional photography taken, and all of this stuff. So he went from wanting to make $2 million a year to now making $2 million a month. So it's all about the strategy and how you perceive the business that you're actually in, as opposed to the business that you should be in, right? So who can tell me right now in real estate, the business that you're currently in, rather than the business that you should be in within real estate, right? It's for some of us that might be, okay, well, like I work with buyers and I love working with buyers, right? And we know that working with buyers will get you some money. It's like the low hanging fruit, right? That's what we call it, buyers. But they can also be a very stressful life for a lot of you because buyers are liars or buyers aren't ready and buyers require a lot of time. And, you know, and you're really kind of like begging when you're working with buyers because you're begging the agents to accept your offers. You're begging the clients not to go and buy with someone else. It's kind of like it wears on you. Okay. But a way to kind of change your strategy would be like, what if I started working with sellers, right? That might be something you guys have thought to yourself. And this is the most easiest example I can give you. But working with sellers is the same business, but it's a different strategy, right? The whole different strategy, because then you introduce what's called leverage, because working with sellers allows you to now be able to handle more clients, as opposed to working with buyers where you have to be present for hours on end with those buyers every day. With a listing, you go once, you take the pictures, and or not you, but you send someone, you know, you may be dedicated the same amount of time you would have to a buyer on one given day, but then you don't have to do that again ever. You know, it's job is done. You can handle 100 listings, you can't handle 100 buyers, right? I've said this over and over and over again, but maybe once you've become aware of that and you say to yourself, well, I'm a listing agent. Well, what can you do then? Well, then what you might want to do is say, well, could I start going after the luxury market? In the luxury market, if I sell one home, it's kind of like me selling 3 homes at the way I used to before. Now, none of this comes easy. None of it at all comes easy. As a matter of fact, Alex Hormozy in his video, he says that sometimes you're going to just have to bear with it, because to make these pivots, I'm asking you sometimes, or I've asked my partners to forego making income for 9 months to a year, because you're transitioning your business into a different strategy, which means saying no to your old business and going a different path altogether, because you can't chase 2 rabbits at the same time. So going into this different direction and allowing you to just focus on what makes more sense financially will allow you in the future to then be able to out earn the old version of your business, as long as you're moving. You're never moving backwards. You're always moving vertically. You're always moving up, right? You never want to move back down when you're looking at strategy. You always want to think to yourself, how can I think smarter? So again, I'll give you another quick example. If you're thinking about becoming an agent attractor, right? Like someone who attracts agents, you can go and start attracting brand new agents, and that might get you somewhere, right? Like I told Belinda, you know, like that's planting seeds in the future. Or you can go and attract teams. Both require the same amount of time, both require the same amount of energy. One is going to be easier, which is the low hanging fruit of attracting agent by agent. The other one's going to be harder, which is attracting teams. But you only need to attract one team in order to do the same work as being able to attract a whole bunch of other people. And with the old kind of model, right? The old strategy you have, or attracting a brokerage, or opening up a country. Like these are things that are all available to us and things that we can all focus our attention on. But sometimes what happens with us is we get too busy chasing that low hanging fruit, and we don't stop to think about our business strategy because we get so busy with just our day to day, right? And some people have convinced themselves that writing up paperwork, that organizing your calendar, and I don't know, doing marketing for your open house, all of that is good work for you to do. It's busy work. We need to know the difference between good work and busy work. Busy work will make you feel as you accomplish something, but good work feels uncomfortable, and good work usually requires some type of strategy, right? It's not just like I get up and I follow a certain routine that hasn't really paid off. I keep doing that, and at least I can say I did something today. Scratch all that, right? That should be completely off your plate. What I'd like for a lot of you to do and start doing, thinking about, is how can I change the strategy and the kind of trajectory that I'm currently on, where I can stretch myself, because if you're not being stretched, you ain't going in the right direction, where I can stretch myself and reach for a higher goal. Because we're just kind of complacent. A lot of us get complacent. You know, we get our license. We're like, yeah, I'm going to be the next Ryan Serhan, or whatever his name is. Oh, I'm going to be the next Robert Kiyosaki, like we all start thinking these, we come out of gate, but then our light starts to get diminished as we see that things aren't that easy. Oh, they actually require work. Oh, I got to talk to people. I got to go and I got to make phone calls. Like, I'd rather rearrange my pencils on my drawer. Like that's what people end up doing. So what I've gotten from what he said today is that brand is important, right? But brand isn't everything, because brand is just the way you make people feel, but the strategy you take along with it, if you can learn to marry those two, where you have a strong brand and you have a strong strategy, which means that the better brand you have, the more attention you get, and the better way you have to convert that attention. Because if we can't convert attention, it's pointless, right? It's totally pointless. Have you guys seen that TikToker who's been stealing people's dogs, running up in people's houses, and doing all these crazy things that have gotten him a lot of attention, but he can't monetize it because nobody will touch him with a 10-foot pole? So that's the wrong type of strategy. He's got the attention, but he's got the wrong strategy, right? He's got the wrong brand too, because everyone hates this kid. But if you're able to take that brand and strategy and do something with it powerfully enough, you can go places quickly, like really fast. So that's kind of what I wanted to touch on today. Does anyone want to add to that, or has anyone seen that they've created a brand for themselves without even realizing it? I'm telling you right now, there's a few people on this call who I can personally say, you guys are on your way to having a very strong brand, already have a strong brand. And if you keep at it, like it takes, you chip at it one day at a time. It doesn't come all at once. Anyone here want to share anything that they've learned about branding themselves, or what kind of a brand they're aiming for?
I think I'm very good at building relationships.
I agree. I've told you that.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm good talking to people and getting them, I don't know, getting them to follow me. I can talk to people. So
good. Here's a test that everyone can take. Next time you walk into a crowded room, see if people are walking out of the room or if people are coming towards you to talk to you. And then that'll tell you a lot about your brand without you having to do any market research. And if you're the type of person, like I will give you an example right now, Sarah, you walk into a room, I'm sure people are like, hey, Sarah, what's going on? Like, you have a very pleasant nature about you. A lot of people can learn from other people who aren't necessarily 20-year veterans in the business just by learning about their personality traits. When I was fortunate enough to run Culture Estate, there were agents that I learned from every single day, brand new agents that were already seasoned. I learned from everyone. I always tell them I'm learning from you guys. Like, I learn your personality traits. I learn what you're doing that works. I learn what they're doing that doesn't work. Like, you're constantly evolving who you are as a person. So what I would suggest is that pay more close attention now to the things you like and the things you don't like. And then you can figure out, why is it that you like those things? Because they have a brand about them, and how you can mimic that same brand if you feel like that's a brand that you want to have, right? Who else here thinks that now they're aware of everything they put out is a brand?
Hi, Louis.
Hey,
Vanya
Vanya.
here. I'm at the gym, so my camera's off.
No problem, sweetheart.
I have the more that I talk to people, I see I guess I have become an educator. I never meant to go that way, but now I enjoy it. And when people approach me, that's what they come and they tell me, oh, you put out so much good content that educate us as far as buyers and also realtors, to the point where some realtors just come around me and ask me a bunch of questions.
Mhm.
And then I see them on social media doing the same thing that I am doing. And then they just go away and never talk to me again. I used to get mad at the beginning, but then somebody told me, oh, when people copy you, that should flatter you. That's like the biggest compliment, right? So now I'm like, okay, whatever. And I still have those agents. They come, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? And as far as business, I guess because I do a lot of seminars now, is my business is shifting. The last few deals that I have had have been referrals.
Yeah.
So I went from buyers to listings and now to referrals. And I gotta say, it's a little scary because I'm a control freak and I have like zero control when I refer somebody.
Yeah.
But it seems to be going that way on the referral side. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
shifting it. And as you said, sometimes you got to put in the effort. So me finding the right partners to do the referrals is taking time as well.
Absolutely. One thing I'm going to tell
No
you.
camera, Louis, no
Oh,
camera.
my camera went out. Thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, it's just, it goes out on the hour. I gotta
That's
get
my new
I
profession.
gotta get a charger for my battery so it doesn't go out. I'm gonna do that today.
Belinda's charm, she's very peaceful.
Yeah.
I just love listening to her. She's very peaceful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I would say trustworthy. Like if I was in
Yes.
a seller seat and she came to me and she spoke to me, I'd be like, I trust this woman.
100%.
Yeah.
She gives that, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
My children come looking for me. My neighbors draw me in to their house all the time.
Yeah, one thing I will tell you is that we also can strengthen our brand or ruin our brand by our association. So for instance, if Ivania does conferences and she does seminars, what if, Ivania, let me ask you this, you found people in your social media circle who you look up to who are talented real estate agents, right? What if you found them and you said to them, hey, I am doing a seminar, I am doing a conference, and I would like for you to be a guest speaker. Now, by bringing that person in that you feel has a strong brand, you now align your brand with their brand, making your brand even stronger. Make sense? So if we're building our brand and we can actually build our brand quicker by associating ourselves with the right people. That's why you see a lot of agents jumping ship to like an office that has like a good brand around them. And that's why franchises tend to do really well. And less people tend to go to like a mom and pop because of branding. That's what they want to do. But that mom and pop one day could end up becoming a strong name as well. And the opportunity you have with that is you can make it any brand you want. You can make it feel anything you want. That's why when I tell people who say, oh, there's no EXP around me, nobody knows that brand. And I say, well, that's a great opportunity because that means that you can make that brand anything you want in your area. It could be luxury. It could be investor friendly. It could be whatever it is that you want it to be. You can now, you have the opportunity to take that EXP brand and make it anything you want, you know? So I know that sometimes people have gotten that type of response from people, but everything's an opportunity, whether you're aligning yourself with a strong brand or if you're creating a brand from day one. But a good way to do it obviously would be from inviting people or bringing people on board to make your brand stronger. Now, Ivani, I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but I used to do that a lot with interviewing people with strong brands. You could do the same thing on your YouTube and on your Instagram and all that, is just maybe interview people who you feel have a strong brand, good connection in the space. You'll not only gain their following because they'll see the video, but you'll also gain these people as friends. You know, you can't go wrong with that.
Yes, thank you. I have a list of people I want to interview and, you know, ask about their success in their business. But I do take my time getting to know people because a lot of people say a lot of stuff, as you say, and then you go look him up, not even look him up, just spend an evening with them. And then you're like, I don't want you around my clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. The people you work with, your loan officer, your title person, you know, that's all part of your brand.
I used to know somebody who, good morning, everyone.
Hey, sweetheart.
That used to be awesome on social media. They were like the sweetest, the bestest person in the world. And then you meet them in person. They were very, not so much. They were very aggressive. So
Gotcha.
not cool.
Happens.
And it can be the opposite too. You know, somebody can look so rough and tough on social media, and then when you talk to them, they're like have the most tender heart.
Yeah.
One thing that I've seen in a lot of places is I've seen a lot of greed.
A lot of what?
That was greed. There's
greed. Okay.
Money hungry. That's something that really pushes me away from stuff like that, because I always believe that the sun shines for everyone. You know what I mean? And greed is a horrible sin. So that's one thing that will push me away from things.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that I did? And it's funny that we're talking about branding.
Yeah.
I just redesigned my business cards, and I went to black and gold with a black background. I did not realize how much that screamed luxury. And when I'm thinking about it, as we're talking, I'm thinking about other companies that brand by color. And if you think about it, red and white. Chick-fil-A could afford to stay closed on Sundays, and they don't have to stay open till midnight.
That's part of the brand.
But it's part of brand. And who else follows red and white that has exceptional service? You got Target, Target is above Walmart, and then you got Costco and BJ's, which plan to take over a Sam's Club. And so branding, a visual branding, makes a big difference too.
1000%. Exactly. We're very visual creatures, all of us. Of course, whatever the colors, they mean something, they strike up a nerve. And you guys can do research on all this. There's all scientific data on colors and emotions attached to it. Very true. Very, very true. Yeah. Well, anyone else? If not, we're gonna cut it. And
You know, you guys should look up this EXP team leader in Arizona. His name is that tattoo realtor.
really?
Yeah, oh my God,
Wow.
he is so nice. When you look at his videos, you're like, oh my God, this guy, you know, he's tattooed up to his eyebrow. Like a lot of people are scared of him, right? But when I spoke to him, he's so nice. And I actually asked him to be a guest on our office Zoom, and he did it for me. He came and everybody was like, oh my God, he's so nice. Like the way he looks like he's about to kill someone.
Yeah.
But he has like the whole Arizona under his belt.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
And his videos are so inspiring. He does like funny videos, but at the same time, they're very educational.
Post it in the chat. I'm sure people would love to check out his stuff.
Hey guys,
Hey,
I
so-
sent out an email yesterday
Mhm.
for social media, how to post and, you know, ideas and quotes and hashtags that I created on ChatGPT, which I am so like, I can't sleep because I'm always there, like, you know, evolving, and I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is a wonderful tool. If you guys haven't spent enough time on it, I think you should. One of the first things you should do if you go on ChatGPT is ask ChatGPT, what can I use you for in my business? And it'll give you a lot. It'll give you a lot of things to think about.
I am going to try that challenge, Sophie. I was very serious because I am not consistent with my posting. So it was a good outline. Thank you.
Yeah, so you have 31 days for sellers and 31 days for buyers, and it's all there. You just have to copy it, paste it, do it. You know, that's it.
Awesome.
I gotta go, guys. I have
Thank
another
you, Soph.
meeting.
Take care,
Thanks.
sweetheart.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. Yeah, we're gonna close out with our prayer. Belinda, would you mind praying for us today? I know you guys are tired of hearing me pray.
Never.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sarah.
Absolutely. Father, we come to you in the mighty name of Jesus, not in our feeble strength, but in the strength of your name. We thank you, first of all, for all that you are doing for us. We thank you for the inspired ideas. We thank you for the inspired action. We thank you for the love and guidance that you constantly bestow upon us. Open up our eyes to let us know that you are always with us and that you have never left us. We open up our hands and we open our minds to receive your abundance, your grace, your wealth, your riches, and most of all, your love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Belinda. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
No worries.